All right, how's it going, guys? Yeah, I've used Conductor. I think actually I haven't installed Conductor. Oh, a window. I try to play around with this right now so I get some more ideas. What's up, Sky? Yeah, I guess the first thing we could do is open up a project in Conductor. I'm going to play around with just using Conductor to see how it is. I've used it a while back, and then I built out like mission control and all these other things. How do you add a folder to see? Add repository, Command-Shift-A. A project. Okay. Why did it just crash? Okay, well, I was going to try Conductor, but I just clicked the button and the entire thing just crashed on me. But yeah, anyway, I've been using my own tool. I started building out another one. I've made a lot of videos about Mission Control, which is that other Electron app. But as I've been kind of using Mission Control, I realized that my new workflow probably is going to be centered around work trees, which is what Conductor kind of does. But I found that working on side projects, like you want these agents to work on an isolated branch of your code base, like a checkout. So work trees makes that really nice. Let's see what this is doing, sorry. Oh, one thing I do want, so I'm going to go over here. I'll show you my current workflow. So basically, if I wanted to change something with an application, here's a little one I've been kind of prototyping called Explorer. So if I want to go to that project, go to the main branch, and I'm going to go ahead and just check out a work tree. Call this one, I don't know. So I'd make a new work tree, and then that would basically allow an agent to work in isolation off like the latest off of main. So if you look here, we are on main, and it created an Explorer's work tree. I need to fix that to make it actually try to nest the work trees inside the project itself instead of like pulling it in the workspace. So I may go back here, add a little note. How do you edit? Is there a way to edit this thing? Okay. I don't even need a note here. I'm going to go ahead and just make a new thing for this. So I'll make a work tree, and I'll call this, what am I trying to call it? Give me 1 second. Oh, this needs to actually be like a branch name. So fixing think I actually might be out of Fable. Alright, quick recap. Sorry, I haven't used this app in a bit. So basically, there's projects I have that I'm managing. So I have Nebula, which is this actual like CLI TUI. And then I want to go to that project and create a work tree so I can do the work in isolation so the agents won't step on each other's toes. I could kick off different work trees at this point as well, which could help if I want to fix more bugs or implement different things. And this is also the process I kind of do at work, right? When you have a new GitHub issue at work, I do that in a work tree so that I can maybe do a couple of bugs and features concurrently. Depends on how hard the bug is, right? Because sometimes you're sitting here waiting for so long for these things to actually like run. But as it's running, you could probably dive through the code base and try to understand some of the things that it's changing if you want. They can like open up files. Let's see. Like this. And that just loads a Vim. I think it's configurable for like NeoVim. I'm not sure if I added that in. File editor. No, Emacs. Okay, cool. I haven't tested any of this stuff, so I'm not going to change it. But there are, I think, automated tests that cover them, so hopefully those are going to be good. But anyway, at some point, this thing will finish with changing some stuff. And, you know, I'll just wait for it to be done. Sometimes in the actual prompt itself, I'll say create a pull request and add a description to that. And you can add it to your agentsmd file or claudemd file of how you want your like PR descriptions to look like, or add a description skill, which could be very useful. But I found just like letting the default Claude code makes a pretty good description. You can come back and just iterate on it if you want to. So it seems like it finished this. Oh yeah, that's better. No, this is another tool I'm kind of working on. I can send a link to it. Anyway, I think this one's still running, so I can't really test that. So I could probably just play around with this app and see if there's anything else I can do here. I know when I click on a delete button, it shows a standard HTML5 confirmation dialog. I'd rather it be something custom. So I'm going to go back to here. We're going to make another work tree probably. And we'll say fix delete button. I need to change the default for right now. Let's go back to here. Okay. Cool. When I click on the delete button on a node, it shows a standard HTML5 confirmation dialog instead. Can you make a custom one and use that instead? Verify that this application is using TanStack start with shadcn. Pretty sure it is. I can go and check. All right, so we got TanStack, Start, Zod, Zustan. Yeah, I don't think there's any shadcn stuff. We do have Tailwind. Yeah, I haven't really been using the voice to text as much as I used to. Something about actually like typing out every single word helps you understand better like what you're asking in some scenarios. But if I just want to really quickly pick off something, it's much easier just to use voice to text on those non-like complex prompts. And then sometimes like you're working in an environment that you just don't want to be talking all the time, right? Into your microphone. So just getting good at typing and making like typing up your prompts is pretty fun. Okay, is there anything else we could work on this for this one? New root session. Yeah, I think having maybe a panel on the left where it would show you a list of all your root sessions so you can like quickly get to them, and also like an input box. So we can go over here and just make another one. Sometimes I like to just work off a main, and then I will just say, make another instance here. On the left side of the canvas, can you put a panel that lists out all the root sessions so a user can click through them and it will navigate the canvas directly to that session and autofocus it? Oh, I forgot to ask for a work tree. So like, go here, do this. Can you do this work inside of a work tree and make a pull request when you're done? Yeah, the graph is using React Flow. So one little bug, this thing should have automatically moved into the work tree. I can move it manually, I believe, but we'll see. There's like a little bug where sometimes after creating the work tree, it doesn't move. So I'll go back to Nebula and just ask for that. This time I'll just do it in a new work tree here. I'll say like move. There seems to be a bug for when I first use the main root work tree, and in the prompt, Claude Code creates a new work tree. It doesn't seem like it automatically moves that session into the new work tree in the work tree list that it just created. Okay, yeah, this is just a local one. Need to worry about that then. Looks like a little bug too. Okay, what was the bug? It was like sometimes after Claude Code is done accepting the user input, the session still stays red. It should probably switch back to green so that we know that it's not running anymore. Hmm. I'm just testing out the... When I jump to a project and I press enter, when I'm using the jump to project feature and I type in a worktree name and press enter, it seems to focus on the worktree panel when it does the click. Instead, could you focus on the actual sessions panel of the worktree that I wanted? Also, verify that the statuses match the colors in the search results, that they match on the actual projects, worktrees, and sessions lists. So that if there is a running session in the search, you'll see that that thing is running. Try to also apply the animated text to that if possible. Did that not actually run? Let's see. Oh no, it did it in a worktree, didn't it? Give every typed field real terminal line editing. Oh, nice. All right, so this is like one of my workflows that finished. Basically, it did the work in a work tree. When it was done, I told it to commit and then also make a pull request for me and then open it in my browser when it's done. And so it opened this one up, and this is when we were asking to add to the Nebula TUI so that we wanted it to work. Yeah, the input. So like if I were to go to a note and add one, I can't really like use options back or like skip words. It's kind of a bad experience. So this is supposed to fix that. Now at this point, I could probably actually check out that work tree local over here, but it's already running. So we're just going to merge it. Yeah, I think I actually posted a message like that recently saying that Opus 5, like a lot of these models are becoming very hard to read. It's like they're cutting back on tokens to try to save cost, but in the output, it's just like some of the sentences are just very hard to comprehend. You could add a skill, or like in your Agents MD, you could try to add in a prompt to keep it more concise. I think there's one called Caveman, but I don't know if that's like just stripping out and simplifying all the output tokens. Well, actually, I could show you one thing I've been doing. Let me copy this whole thing. This is in what project? Nebula? Okay, so I'm gonna just go back to main here, and I'm gonna make a session. Sometimes a good old explain it like I'm 5 can help give you a really high level what changed. But maybe it's a little bit too simplistic. That changes the actual like technical. Let's see what this does. All right, so the bug, start a session in the main checkout and ask it to create a work tree and work there. Sessions row stays parented to the main checkout instead of the following to the agent in the work tree cause. Yeah, I guess the idea of this app, I was using like ChatGPT and all these other tools, and sometimes like you'll ask it a question like explain an operating system to me from a high level. And it'll give you a bunch of good information, right? But inside that information, there's going to be stuff that you don't even know yet. So you can kind of like dive down on topics that seem like you probably need to learn first before you learn how an operating system kind of works. So like resource management, the OS schedules, the CPU times amongst different processes, ensuring inefficient execution. So let's say I want to like, okay, can you like explain this more? All right, so here's the parent, and as I'm going through the parent, if you like really want to dive down to all these topics, you could just highlight different areas. Okay, so like expand on this. And then I can kind of like navigate between them. And then you can keep doing that like recursively, right? It's just like a big tree of nodes. But yeah, I don't know if other people like that, but I find it really interesting to like read something and then now you have to go make a whole new chat GPT like panel, copy paste context around. But yeah, it would be nice if I could just say like dot and then have like a drop down of hotkeys, like explain some more. Pop out chat. Hold on. It even says, seems to ignore any rules I use in Claude MD most of the time. A skill called bro from Dylan. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I think manually invoking skills and yeah, I think I still manually invoke a lot of my skills just because I want to make sure that they do run. Probably a good idea to do that. What's up, Anthony? How's it going? Yo, this YouTube app is so bad. Okay, so like this is an idea that someone in a stream put out there. And I'm like, okay, I could probably go ahead and just like Where did YouTube chat go? Okay. Yeah, that's the guy who writes Go. He has a YouTube channel. Oh, here's a good one. When a user presses the left navigation arrow when they're already like at one of the root nodes, zoom it out to the default canvas view that we show when the app actually starts. Now, like I was saying, like I started the stream out talking about workflows and got distracted. So at work and on some features and bugs, I like doing in an isolated work tree, so that I can have different like agents working over that. I could have stuff. I could ask questions in other editors or sessions. Like I'd load up codecs if I wanted to have it review the changes. Do a git diff and review the code changes. So I'd probably like do this with codecs. Sol extra high is really good to do like a secondary review. So if this is done implementing or it's implementing along the way, you could probably even like set this up in a loop of like, hey, there's another agent running, changing files. Can you just continuously review its work as it's done? There's probably a more elegant way to hook agents together. It looks like Codex doesn't automatically rename the session. So I'll have to go here. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Yeah, I didn't even update the status either. It doesn't seem like it updates the status either for the codecs It just stays gray even when I prompt it. Can you debug that? Again, look into how we do it with Claude Code and make sure that the approach is similar and not duplicating a bunch of code everywhere. Nice. All right, I don't know if I ever got around to adding the thing on the left like I asked it to. Oh no, keep doing that. Yeah, I need to check up with Anthony. Is he still publishing videos? I know he took a very long break. But he's building a really cool like crypto stock trading thing. Really cool. Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. I'm in for 50 minutes. Hold on, guys. All right, I'm gonna wrap up the stream. Thanks for joining, guys. Just want to kind of try to get back into the swing of things here, but